And your time starts now. Which instrument is typically played by an accordionist?
Piano, accordion.
Lead. Accordion.
Correct. Canopy, sleigh and trundle are types of what furniture item?
Gym.
Bed.
Correct. What is the longest river that is entirely in England?
Thames.
Gym.
Thames.
Correct. Of which European country was Willy Brandt Chancellor?
West Germany.
Germany.
More information?
Western Germany.
Correct. Which Melbourne Cup
She's
winning
not really
jockey is
right.
nicknamed Ollie?
Damien Oliver.
Damien Oliver.
Correct. Former PM Bob Hawke represented an electorate in which state?
Victoria.
Victoria.
Correct. In which country is the film Brokeback Mountain mainly set?
America.
USA.
Correct. Beginning with G. What animals include the ibex species?
Gym.
Giraffe.
Goats. Ice cubes are most commonly composed of oxygen and which other element?
Hydrogen.
Lead. Hydrogen.
Correct. Which musical features the character Miss Honey?
Gym.
Pass.
Matilda. In which French city is Hemingway's memoir A Movable Feast set?
Pass.
Paris.
Correct. The TV sports show The Front Bar stars Sam Pang and Mick Who?
Gym.
Malloy.
Malloy.
Correct. A fundraising activity for the Boy Scouts was Bobber what?
Job.
Gym.
Job.
Correct. What nationality is Archibald Prize-winning artist John Olsen?
Lead. Australian.
Correct. Who is the stepmother of mining magnate Gina Reinhardt?
Rose Porteous.
Hancock.
More information?
Rose.
Correct. Which Australian city is home to the Victoria Police Museum?
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Correct. What is the rhyming nickname of politician Scott Morrison?
Gym.
Pass.
ScoMo. In Russian currency, 1 ruble equals how many kopecks?
100.
Lead. 5.
100. Famous for her work with gorillas was zoologist Diane Who?
Fossey.
Gym.
Pass.
Fossey. In Judaism, a rebbetzin is the wife of what?
Rabbi.
Rabbi.
Correct. For which noun is the medical term parasitic an adjective?
Parasite.
Parasite. It's good to get at the tip of your tongue there, Lee. But I tell you what, between the two of you, you pulled out some beauties and you've come up with a very competitive total of 17 steps. Right?
Yeah, not too bad. Didn't miss many. Gotta give you...
Burglaries in Melbourne's southeast. Prince Harry's girlfriend on the move to London. Reg Ansets Mount Eliza Estate set to be auctioned for charity.
And I'll have news on some warmer and sunnier weather coming our way.
This news update brought to you by Apia Insurance. Rewarding experience.
Thanks to the newsroom for that. Okay, it's 2 versus 1. Jim, Lee, I wish you the best of luck. Goliath, are you good to go?
Yes.
It's time for the final chase. Best luck, team. Goliath, your time starts now. An alliterative term for an indoor shrub is pot what?
Plant.
Correct. Which country won the 2017 Bledisloe Cup?
New Zealand.
Correct. In which ocean is Australia's Ningaloo Reef?
The
Indian.
Correct. Oak bark is rich in a chemical commonly known as tannic what?
Acid.
Acid.
Correct. An 80s hit song from Madonna was Papa Don't Preach.
Preach.
Correct. Which Australian political party was led by John Anderson?
The Democrats.
Stop the clock.
Two other choices, I suppose.
Or Labor.
Yep.
Which one your gut feeling?
Labor. That's my gut feeling.
All right, we'll go with yours.
Sure, cool.
Husband.
Yeah, okay.
It's Labor, Andrew.
The National Party, formerly the Country Party of Australia, of course. 12 required, 1:34 on the clock.
Barely
Right,
remember
time. Restarts. Now, what is the specific term for a person native to Glasgow?
Glaswegian.
Correct. In which US state is the play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof set?
Louisiana.
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. This is set in Louisiana. Stop the clock.
I'm happy with that. I'll only be guessing if I see anything.
Okay, not 100% sure, but Tennessee.
Well, there's your author, Tennessee Williams.
Oh, yeah.
The play is set in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
Got close. 11 required. And your time restarts now. Sarah Brightman was the second wife of which famous composer?
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Correct. Which skiing term derives from Norwegian for sloping track?
Slow.
Correct. Aquafaba is a common vegan alternative to which animal product?
Meat.
Mutton? Stop the clock.
Aquafaba.
Oh, it's milk. Milk. Maybe it's milk.
Egg or what else is there?
Fava.
I like meat.
Water.
Water in it, so
Aquafaba.
fava.
Might go with egg.
Okay, yeah.
Egg.
Going egg? The answer is eggs. Well
Oh.
done. Good job. Finally, we get one. We needed that. Now, there's 1:06 on the clock and 10 required. Matt, your time restarts now. Which AFL team's mascot is named G-Man?
The Giants.
Correct. Memnoch the Devil is a novel by horror author Anne who?
Ross Davis.
Irving. Stop the clock.
I'm not being this is your field. So
I think it's right.
you go with it.
Rice.
Rice. Anne Rice. Did well with eggs and you've done well with rice. Well played.
I'm on the right track.
All right. So that makes the job harder for Goliath. It's certainly not impossible with 50 seconds and 10 to get. Your time, G-Man, restarts. Now, what word meaning to pull is also slang for an American?
Yank.
Correct. What is the term for the administrative districts of Paris?
Arrondissement.
Correct. In which UK country is Newmarket a famous racecourse?
England.
Correct. A catchphrase of Dame Edna Everidge is hello what?
Parsons.
Correct. Which late singer wrote the song Rock and Roll Music?
Elvis Presley.
Stop got Which late singer wrote the song
No.
Rock and Roll Music?
Australian? It was an Aussie guy, yeah?
Sing the song, but I can't put a name to it.
Who sang that one?
Johnny O'Keefe, maybe.
John Paul Young.
Would have been him.
He's not dead.
John Paul Young. Andrew.
Rock and Roll Music? Chuck Berry, actually. Yeah, Chuck Berry. So, still anyone's game, I've got to say.
I don't think John Paul Young's
24 and
dead.
6. Your time restarts. Now, yo-yo biscuits are often called melting what?
Moments.
Correct. In which Australian state is the Galilee Basin?
In Queensland.
Correct. What is the silent first letter of the word knowledge?
K.
Correct. A common idiom for hard work is to work one's fingers to the bone.
Bone.
Correct. Lao Tzu was a philosopher from which Asian country? Correct. Rami Malek stars as a hacker in the TV drama Mr. Who?
Robot.
Oh.
I cannot believe it. Jim, Lee, one more pushback and you were there, that's for sure. I've got to say goodbye to that $28,000 and I really feel sorry about that. G-Man?
See you later in the Chase Marquee, guys.
Your shout.
I think so. Thanks for your company. Look forward to seeing you next time on the Chase Australia.
Tonight, Lloyd Williams does it again as a
The sec-
clamber from the carriages.
It's the car that stopped the trains to the race that stops the nation. Just 1 hour before the race start, the protesters drove around the boom gates at Ascot Vale and onto the tracks. Dozens of police arrived quickly, grabbing one protester. When she tried to resist, she was grappled onto the car bonnet. Other demonstrators waiting on the road were also detained, one pushed into the back of a divvy van. As police negotiated with the driver, who'd locked the doors, racegoers were forced to clamour from carriages and along the train line. The demonstrators pleased with the disruption they'd caused.
Refugees are suffering a humanitarian crisis on Manus,
fuck off.
yet Melbourne is celebrating the Melbourne Cup.
People have paid hundreds of dollars to go in there. Hundreds of dollars to go in there. And they probably won't get there for the race at all.
Finally, the driver removed, the car was dragged away.
This is the second headache for Metro this spring racing carnival. On Derby Day, a train stoppage forced racegoers to disembark from a carriage and walk down the tracks.
It's so unsafe to get off a train, so follow the directions from the driver, follow the directions from our staff and stay safe, and the safest place is on the train.
And it wasn't the only demonstration. In a dangerous act of defiance, two women scaled a crane overlooking the racetrack to unfurl a banner, taking time out to pose for selfies. Protesters also managed to run onto the track, forcing police to increase their presence at the Cup.
From a public order point of view, we're
at it and...
Inside the classroom, 17 children and one teacher lay injured. 2 8-year-old boys were fighting to stay alive.
I saw my friend Sarah coming out covered in blood, and then I saw another boy, he couldn't wake up.
He was trapped under the Toyota Kluger. 3 tradesmen managed to free him and started CPR. Escorted by police, paramedics raced him and the other little boy to hospital, but there was little anyone could do.
Tragically, 2 of those kids, male children, are deceased.
Condition. The driver stopped briefly at the scene before fleeing. Police say their car would have damage to the passenger side and windscreen and are appealing for help to track down the driver. The gunman who murdered 26 people at a church in Texas had fought with his mother-in-law and was trying to hunt her down and kill her. Around half of his victims were children, the youngest just 1 year old.
Not terror, not race hate. The 5th worst shooting in US history was over a domestic dispute.
There is video recording from inside the church that has been secured, and we have viewed the video.
Devin Kelly was out to get his mother-in-law. Wearing black and a skull mask, he'd gone to the church to execute her, but she wasn't there. Instead, he murdered his grandmother-in-law and 25 others. More than half were children, the youngest 18 months. The survivors hid or ran.
He had blood all over his arms and his face, and we let him in, and he said, there's a shooter, and he shot everybody in there, my family's in there, my family, and he just collapsed there on the floor.
The church pastor battling the loss of his 14-year-old daughter.
I don't understand, but I know my God does.
Stories, though, of courage, like that from the man they're calling an all-American hero, Johnny Langendorf.
I just did what I thought was right.
He'd stumbled into the tragedy.
When Johnny first arrived, he found another hero citizen on this side of the road in a gun battle with Devin Kelly out the front of the church. When Kelly finally fled, Johnny didn't think twice. He followed him in pursuit.
The fellow hero is Stephen Williford, who lives opposite the church.
Every time I heard a shot, I knew that probably represented a life.
Now, how does it feel knowing that the 2 of you have probably stopped this getting any worse?
It's a great feeling, but the feeling that I care about the most is that the people of the community can sleep easier knowing justice was served and that this man isn't alive to hurt anyone else.
Kelly should never have had a gun. He'd been jailed for a year and discharged from the Air Force for assaulting his wife and fracturing his stepson's skull. But the Air Force failed to register the crimes, and he was able to buy 4 guns in 4 years.
There was no prohibitive information in the systems that we checked that said that he could not have purchased that firearm.
But US President Donald Trump, on his 12-day tour of Asia, refused to accept this was a gun control issue.
I think that mental health is your problem here. This was a very, based on preliminary reports, very deranged individual, but fortunately somebody else had a gun that was shooting in the opposite direction. Otherwise it would have been as bad as it was. It would have been much worse.
A painful season of mass killings in America, now testing the faith of this deeply Christian town.
Bless those, Father God, who are mourning right now.
In Sutherland Springs, Texas, Chris Reason, 7 News.
Sean Sowerby joins us now with a look ahead to tonight's sport. Good evening, Sean. That's watched in awe.
That is a...
The whole building was red. It was all in fire, the whole building, and it was terrible.
Drivers on Doncaster Road were suddenly engulfed in smoke. It was so thick the fire brigade warned residents to shut windows and doors and not leave home.
Windows and all the doors, they were like really hot. The smoke was huge.
Fallen asleep, hit a pole and flipped his car, which then burst into flames. As they grabbed crowbars and fire crews arrived, the driver woke up screaming that his shoes were on fire. The officers smashed the car and dragged him free. Prince Harry's girlfriend Meghan Markle has revealed she's moving from Canada to London to be closer to him. And a new documentary has suggested the announcement of a royal engagement may not be far away.
This was the moment at the Invictus Games in Toronto when the world first saw Prince Harry and Meghan Markle together after a very private romance. The documentary, Prince Harry and Meghan, Truly, Madly, Deeply, asked the question, what now?
With Meghan, an American divorcee actress, it seems like yet another social frontier has been crossed.
Meghan's half-sister put pay to suggestions the actor is not suited to royal life.
She's very, very classy, reserved, elegant, and educated.
Meghan's charity work, an instant attraction for Prince Harry when they first met at a London nightclub last year.
I am honoured to be UN Women's advocate for political participation and leadership.
They seem to me to be rather an evidently good match.
One of Meghan's biggest challenges now, according to the experts, learning the rules of royal etiquette.
Will possibly adopt, when wearing a skirt, the Duchess slant, which is when you slightly angle your legs rather than crossing your legs at the knee.
A romance in full bloom, with royal commentators hoping for news of an engagement.
Yes, were there a wedding, I would love to go, but we have no idea what's going to happen.
In London, Kath Turner, 7 News.
And you can see the full documentary, Prince Harry and Meghan, in a Sunday night special event soon on 7. A prime piece of Mornington Peninsula real estate is set to fetch $40 million, with every cent going to charity.
You feel about yours?
Businesses in Cheltenham, they also took a continues for 2 men and a woman involved in at least 6 robberies across Melbourne's southeast. The thieves stole laptops, cash, tools and an EFTPOS machine from businesses in Cheltenham. They also took electronics from a construction site in Springvale. The burglars are believed to be in their 20s and drive a green Mitsubishi Verada. US President Donald Trump has landed in South Korea for his second stop on an 8-day trip across